everybody, and welcome to TFT, Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings with
Banshee.
And me, Oberon.
Welcome to the special reading for USA predictions to the end of the year 2022.
Right, we had at the end of last year did some preliminary looks at 2022, but we thought, we're like nearly 8 months in, so it's time to maybe tune it up a little bit.
Absolutely, so much has happened all the way around. So we're going to see what the rest of 2022 holds in some key areas for the U.S. So we're going to get started right now because we got a bit to cover here.
Indeed.
All right, I'm going to shuffle first. Let's shuffle next time.
So we have outlined about 5 areas of interest that we're going to go through. 6.
Remember, I added that one
been
question.
busy.
Yeah, I'm bad. I know it. All right, one more shuffle for me. All right. Our first question that we are going to talk about is just a barometer of kind of where things are now, what might be hot button, what's standing out. We're going to take a look at it and try to determine that. 3 cards for each of these questions.
What's our topic?
Oh, I just said it. It's the barometer, where we are at right now. We'll just see what stands out, what seems to maybe be hot button or whatever. Right now we have the Ace of Pentacles reversed. We also have the 5 of Cups reversed. Oh my. Well, this is interesting. And then there's the 5 of Pentacles reversed. So we have 2 5s and an ace. And it's interesting. So I think what's really, pressing on everybody's minds right now might be economic issues of some sort. Well,
sorry, I'm just playing with the light.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. I thought maybe we'd go back to the other camera, but that's fine. The economic issues at some sort. Hey, that's what I think is going on here. I'm looking at that Ace of Pentacles in particular. It just seems like things have been sluggish. Things have been delayed. Profits have been diminished. But the 5 of Cups reversed is there, Mr. O. It looks like maybe a little bit of a recovery might be in progress, or that there are opportunities for that. Because let's pull that with the 5 of Pentacles reversed here. I don't think it's anything major, but I do feel here that there is some kind of recovery taking place.
Well, I sort of see that, but I'm going to say that I feel that maybe 50% of the issues right now for most people are about the economy and where it seems to not be going.
Sure.
And then the other 50% probably represent all the various other social issues and other issues that are going on that maybe command just about that. But I do feel that these 2 5s combined sort of create a stalemate of a sense. The idea that maybe some people are really ready to find the help, but some people are ready to also maybe just go it alone. That's that feeling I'm getting there. Go it alone or find help. And of course, that does kind of represent to some degree the overall mood of the electorate, the do-it-yourselfers or the people who say we need the government to help us. Maybe not exactly like that, but you know what I mean.
I get it. So you're not going with the economy, or you see part of that there. You're actually seeing more in this reading than I am. But I would say, to your point, if we want to look at this as far as some of the social issues and civil rights things, which is another question in here that's going on right now, it seems to me that this is saying that everything that we have grown, everything that we were trying to do to make life better for people has been diminished, perhaps. And I feel here that you're right. In a sense here, there are opportunities presenting themselves for people to now come together more to maybe work on these key critical points.
Well, the interesting thing is that then these kind of cards play to your major idea about the economy, that
Yeah,
there are
true.
people who are saying there are opportunities here, be a self-starter, be this, and then there are people who are saying maybe it's not going to be that easy and we're going to need a little bit of help from
Right.
government or other agencies or situations.
Right. You can look at that card as seeking help, or getting involved with others again, or you can look at that card like I did initially as, excuse me, as a form of recovery is coming, because it can also indicate recovery, sometimes health recovery, but in this case I'm looking at it as economic recovery. But I like what you said there. Very good.
Yeah, and I see that idea too, that of course this could be moving us in that direction too, which would be great.
Let's move on to another hot button issue. What is going on with the climate for the rest of 2022? And Mr. O will shuffle first, and I will cut, and let's see what's going on there. I thought those cards were interesting, those first three. Thank you.
And our topic again is climate.
What do you got? Oh boy.
Queen of Wands reverse.
Angry climate. Let's go on. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist.
Temperance reversed. Ooh, that's very telling in a way.
Both of those are.
And then another queen, the Queen of Swords, also reversed. So it's like two angry queens or two reverse queens in between a person who is not exactly in balance mode.
Right. Well, we're going to represent this as what's going on with the climate. And I feel here, I think one of our main concerns, clearly, and it's already been exhibited this summer, may be heat waves. You know, we've got the Queen of Wands here who's fiery, hot, and angry. It might also be that there are some dangerous weather patterns as well. I look at that with the combination of the Queen and Temperance here, because it just shows a lack of balance right now in climate. I almost feel that Queen of Swords reversed there is speaking of something else. But I will say, it could indicate that maybe hurricane season might be a little bit rough this year. There may be some wind events. This could be tornadic activity. This could be the hurricanes. I'm not seeing a lot indicating flooding to me, though, which usually accompanies hurricanes, which I think is kind of interesting. It looks more dry. Do you want to go ahead?
Well, when we talk about some conditions in the world, storms, hurricanes, it was mostly the custom to name them in a feminine manner, to name a storm after a woman. And so we see this sort of playing out here with the idea that maybe from some anthropomorphic stage, these represent forces of nature around the imbalance. And so this would be saying that the worst things we have to fear is the increasing heat, propensities towards fire, but also too this incredibly high volume wind storm nature that affects rainstorms as well as just hurricanes or things of that sort. So I think this is saying that the weather is very unbalanced and that we can find probably for the rest of the year more storm activity, more fire activity. They're fueling each other perhaps.
You know what's funny too is if we look at these cards in relation to what is being done to effectively manage or try, let's say try, to manage climate change, because these are unprecedented times, this does not bode well either. I mean, if you look at these two here, it looks as though decisions are being made not in people's best interests, or maybe too, how do I want to say this?
There's a sense of a harsh judgment here
Yes.
that comes about because you really have no choice, that it's not that it's a bad choice, it's just going to be a choice without really any empathy attached
And
to
I
it.
think a lot of people just don't want to move on it. They just don't want to move on it. They're perfectly willing to let things happen. Temperance, you know, it just seems like there's no balance, there's no agreement, there's no coming together on what to do about climate change.
It's kind of weird because in a lot of ways, when I look at society in my more reflective modes, I sort of feel that some people take things too personally, too much like this is so existential to me, even when it's not. And then there's the opposite, somebody who could not possibly believe it's true unless it happens to them, unless it's their reality. And that could also be represented by this divide in queenly forces, although they have other aspects too. This could just be this disunion of coming together, fire and wind.
So that's what we have for climate change. Ooh,
All right.
not going to be a good rest of the year, I think. Let's see what's going on in the social sphere of things. In other words, social relations. You know, we're so divided in this country right now. People are talking civil war, really crazy kind of things, not recognizing the damage that will do. Nobody, no matter what side you are on, are going to benefit by this kind of separation. It could be very bad for all of us. So let's just see where we're going social relation-wise. Anything to add to that thought?
Oh no. I'm going to let the cards do the talking, I think.
Okay, here you go, Mr. O.
And we do want to try to keep this more concise, I suppose. We do have a tendency for bombast.
Blah, blah, blah. We will probably blah, 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 but it's okay. These are important questions.
Indeed.
Indeed.
We won't look at that.
Okay, I trust you. Here we go. You believe that? We have the Tower reversed. We have the Seven of Pentacles reversed. We have the Knight of Cups reversed. We have a lot of work to do.
The Seven of Pentacles maybe is our overall best card here, because it does seem to feel like people finally say the time has come, the time for waiting is over, the time to actually bring it home, to sort of complete actions that are necessary for the situation.
everything is reversed here again, as usual. The tower reversed is indicating we just haven't learned anything from what we've gone through in these last number of years. It's like we've learned nothing. We're still all, entrenched in our silos, and we're not learning what we need to do to ascend, to move on. There is work that needs to be done. There is work that needs to be done on this. And right now, it looks as though people are disappointed. People are not happy with each other. And I think this is going to go on through the end of the year.
Well, for social relationships and civility and all those things in our social discourse, our world, it's not very good. And I think that although we rightfully, or you mentioned the idea that we're not learning what we need, let's not forget that the tower in and of itself represents really singular moments that maybe bring chaos, destruction, and hopefully enlightenment. But
are you thinking we're going to have a singular moment?
I don't know,
No, really, just go for it.
I just want to get honest here and feel that as long as this stuff has been going on with everything that created our divisive nature in America, but maybe in the world too, I've often felt that to some degree, only singularities have brought us together. 911, everybody suddenly said, we got to come together. Now, of course, that may not be the best example of that, but that's what I feel is coming here, is that at some point something blows up so bad, but this is saying the lesson isn't learned. The blow up may not necessarily take us to the point of understanding the lesson. But
that's what we have to work on.
But clearly we have to work on that.
And
that Knight of Hearts just says really moving into some really emotionally draining and unsatisfying times, to say the least.
Oh my goodness, you have heard it from Mr. O. And I can't argue with any of that. I gave a basic general overview, but this could very well be true, that there is one event that happens that really shocks the bejeevers out of everybody.
But do they learn?
But do we learn? Well, maybe it's because we haven't learned that happened. I'm not going to rule that out. And that now we realize we have to clean up this mess. We have to do something about this. But it's not going to be easy getting there. It's still a struggle to get people on the same page and happy with, collegial even with one another.
So that kind of implies that this won't really be most of us. This will be the people who really want to work on correcting things, and that a lot of other people will not be moved, will not feel their heart to move them in this direction. We can always hope for something else.
Hey, all right. You might have your own ideas on these cards. Any tarot readers watching this?
Please, if you're watching this video and feel inclined, take a moment to leave a comment saying why you agree or why you don't agree, or what you see that maybe we're missing, or any other points that should be brought up, because we will probably comment on them, address them with you and with our entire audience.
Well, guess what we're on now? Out of the frying pan and into the fire, we are on civil and human rights, the status of that in America. We know for a fact that many of us believe we have taken major steps backwards. Majority of the United States believes that in polls right now. Whether it's in abortion rights, reproductive rights, women's autonomy over their bodies, guns, the mass shootings,
gay rights, trans
rights, everything, voting rights. Let's see where things are.
Voting rights, indeed. There's a whole movement that says, well, if we're looking at the original interpretations, in the original interpretation, only property owners had the right to vote. And that mostly did not include women.
And, if that's the case, then I don't think anybody should be allowed to rent to others, because it takes away their right to vote.
Yeah.
So I believe that rentals should just go away then, right?
Rentals should be nationalized somehow, and a provision for voting. Maybe.
This is the kind of problems you face when people don't believe that, or people believe that old laws are relevant to the new ways we live today.
Well, Mr. O gets on his soapbox again because I think that the world is just way too big and our country is way too big. There's too many complexities going on for so few people to have so much influence because of their money on our government. We're just too far along for that. We need socialism or socialistic type procedures to ensure that most people will be able to survive rather than just pitted against each other in a never-ending spiral to the bottom. And we know that children who are not wanted do end up needing to be adopted. And guess what? That's not going to happen. Adoption is so hard to do.
I shuffled first again, Mr. O, so you will shuffle the next two. So, sorry about that.
I thought I shuffled and gave them to you to shuffle.
No, I didn't cut them because I picked up the cards at you last time.
Okay.
The tower and all that.
I guess I have to stop being on the soapbox because it confuses us.
It does. All right. All right, as far as socials or civil and human rights goes, here comes the Chariot.
Upright.
And interestingly enough, here comes the Four of Swords reversed. And here comes the Knight of Pentacles reversed. Oh boy. Wow, how interesting that we have that and then we have that. But let's talk about this because I think the Four of Swords has a role to play here too, reversed. I kind of feel like here people are moving. People are mobilizing. People are on the move now and they're mobilizing to try to create change. No time for resting. You're ready to go. If you've been sitting on the sidelines, a lot of people, you are now activated. And I feel here, though, with the Knight of Pentacles, that it's going to be a slow go. In other words, there's not a lot we can do right now to change the makeup of the courts that are deciding this, right?
It's politics. It's politics.
But you can do things by voting locally for your state Supreme Courts, for the things in your states that can preserve your rights, at least state by state. So I feel here it is going to be a slow process of change.
The movement
is there.
The ambition, the drive to wake up. I like the analogy of something hatching out of that because it's like a bird nest.
That's awesome. This came up in this reading.
To wake up and to crow about the new day that's coming. But we have this work to do because our politicians, our representatives are very turgid and recalcitrant and slow.
And
they only want to move slowly.
Money.
And all that money. So we have a lot to work to do here.
Yes,
Anything else?
I think not. I think it's a work in progress, civil rights, and maybe some of that, well, we'll see. We've got the midterms up now that Mr. O is going to show us.
It's that arc of justice that bends slowly towards...
Right. I feel people are rising up. I think it's very clear with that Chariot card. But you know what, Mr. O? The Chariot has the White Horse and the Dark Horse. And so I feel here that, whatever side you are on, you're going to be rising up.
Okay, so on to midterms.
It should be interesting.
Shuffle.
Okay.
It's been a delightful nearly half an hour. We should have tea.
No. Well, we only have 2 questions left.
Well, this is one of them.
Yeah.
But I guess
good.
I would just have to say this is no tea party.
Last one. Oh boy.
Midterms. Oh no, the Knight of Swords. Well, we'll get to that. And there's our friend again, the Knight of Pentacles, reversed again. Turgid. And then the Two of Wands reversed. So
somebody's going to be having a lot of anxiety over the midterms. Maybe
Yeah.
all of us are, you know.
sure.
There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of dread. There's fears, whether they're real or imagined. And, you know, that seems to be the name of the game in elections these days. Whatever side you're on, you're full of panic and anxiety and fear. Is your side going to win? It's all about winning.
Well, it's used to get out the vote, too.
That's true.
Driving
That is
the fear.
true. And so people are playing on fears, and it's just, what does that mean, Mr. O? Does that mean there's no change? That there's not going to be much change happening in the midterms?
Well, it's the Two of Wands.
I'm
And,
talking about this one.
oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. I do sort of feel like this is saying that maybe there is some change, but it's not enough for whichever direction to really be very useful. So in other words, maybe some seats in the Senate or House will change over one way or the other, but it may not be useful. And certainly for one party, if it did move one way, it wouldn't be useful at all,
And
only if it moved the other way.
one or both parties probably have to start retooling. They're going to have to start revising their plans. They're going to be looking towards the future and seeing what they need to do to secure things in 2023 going forward.
That's a really good point, because
Yeah.
we know from the last couple elections, 2016 and 2020, that amounts of over 70 million people did not vote. 76 in 2016, 80 million or so in 2020. And this could kind of represent that divide too, that people are still so upset, unclear about their choices, that maybe this could just cement that idea that this change is just not big enough. That's what I'm seeing here. Change is not big enough.
I want to go back because I never really talked much about the Knight of Pentacles here. I moved on, but I asked you for some input. I think here, I'm wondering about that Knight of Pentacles, and I wanted to run this by you, Mr. O. If you think, in this case, that possibly the money that's being thrown out here is not having the desired effect.
Well, it's not the possible traditional meaning of the Knight, but in context of
It's
our
coming or
reading
going
here,
of a matter of
that's
material.
true. That is true. I sort of feel, yeah, I think you're right. I think that actually could be a way of looking at that.
So I'm wondering here, first off, maybe money is not going to be totally the deciding factor in what happens in the midterms, but there is a lot of fear and anxieties. And to me, money may not be a factor, but I also think, like we spoke before, that the changes are going to be modest. They're going to be modest at best. And people are going to really have to re-strategize going forward from 2022 going forward. I really think this is
is about future planning for sure.
Yeah.
And you know, I like what you said there, because now it makes me look at this saying, like, if money doesn't really move things, but maybe misery does. Maybe
I like that.
That's a picture of misery, whether no matter how you want to parse that righteous misery.
Misery over money.
Misery over money.
Well, we'll just have to see how this plays out. At least we are predicting modest changes. Maybe it'll be more than modest. We'll just have to see.
So let's see then what our
We're on
final...
our last one, and you're going to shuffle first again. It is the state of our democracy by the end of the year. There's a lot of talk about where things are headed. You know, the January 6th hearings and what happened with the insurrection, how people are still talking about, like, church should run government now or have the major force there. No separation between church and state, and so much more. The Supreme Court seemingly now creating law as opposed to the legislature. So I think here we're going to look
I
at
need
this.
a drink.
Margarita time. We need to, or whatever, we need to really focus and see what's going on.
And speaking of January 6th, we are also doing a special
You read my mind. I was going to say it.
reading for that too. Should probably be out soon after this one. It will focus exclusively on what the hearings and with the committee have been about.
We're going to get it out before the next hearing so that you have it for that. All right.
Okay, our final question. The state,
The state of our democracy.
And it's the Nine of Pentacles.
Could be worse.
Reversed.
Could be worse.
And it's the King of Swords upright. And then it is the Tower reversed again. Yikes. Yikes.
I'm going to look like the Scream.
I'm hearing that song by The Who. We won't get fooled again.
We are, apparently.
We are.
Okay. This is kind of weird to me. We've got issues. I at first was going to go with the idea, I just want to say this, that, well, things could be worse, but maybe we just need to reevaluate and really look at the things that truly serve us well, and is the direction we've been going into this church over state and Supreme Court judging, ruling over everything the way we want to go? Well, I think here with the King of Swords, the answer would be no. But then we have the Tower reversed. So I have changed directions. And here's how I feel. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Here's how I feel. I feel here that, we've had it maybe too good. And some people maybe are feeling they haven't had it good enough. Some people are feeling left out. And I feel here that there's some harsh retributions coming ahead. Some harsh judgments ahead. Are they fair? The King of Swords tends to be fair. But I'm not sure in this case because it's combined with the Tower. I feel here a lot is going to rest on our Supreme Court again and what they are deciding. I also feel a lot is going to rest on January 6th and what the Justice Department decides. Because I feel here, this is a card of law enforcement, this is a card of courts, and we haven't learned the lessons we need to learn moving forward. I have a feeling for people who are expecting some really great things to come out of the January 6th, and we'll have to do that reading to be sure, they may be disappointed. They may realize we're going down the rabbit hole again. We are not really taking away what we need to take away from what happened that day.
These are certainly two cards that talk about judgments and or justice. I find...
Yeah, what do you think about
I'm
that?
I'm coming maybe towards your point of view, but from a different point of view, because when I see this reversed, I think that this is saying that rather than people keeping things for themselves, they have to share them. And maybe this is saying the idea where maybe there's something changing with tax codes or the distribution of tax monies, i.e. maybe, just as a lark, less money for the military budget, more money for services. So this to me is a card of opening up and sharing with everyone rather than one person or an elite amount of people keeping it. So maybe that's what's going to happen. Maybe that happens because of some judgment. A grand bargain that they're always talking about to save Social Security. Now I am a little bit scared.
Well, now I am wondering, right, exactly,
Now I am
if
a
some
little
of
bit
these
scared.
more things are going to be taken.
Because then, of course, it goes to the idea of maybe the wrong decision or the wrong result happening with that. But you almost wonder too, hey, I'm more cynical than anybody I know, and I'm more suspicious than anybody I know.
I have some thoughts.
And I almost feel like a lot of these things, the social fabric that's rending back and forth, is all about manipulating us into a position where we accept a solution that will probably
not be in our best interest.
Not be in our best interest, will still leave that divide between the rich and everyone else.
Well, it's interesting because this question was really about the state of our democracy, which I went to the January 6th and the insurrection. We kind of went around in the rabbit hole in circles here. And so I think everything we've said is valid, but let's focus on the democracy a little bit here. And I'm feeling here that people are going to be left very unsatisfied by decisions and judgments that are handed down by authorities, whether it's the DOJ, whether it's the January 6th committee, whether it's the Supreme Court. And it's basically because we refuse to move away from things that are harming us. It maybe, again, this may have to do with another cataclysmic event, right?
Well, you know,
you brought that up before.
I know, and I'm just seeing this now too, because I agree totally with these, and then with this I'm saying, oh, the tower reversed is our present Supreme Court.
Ah!
This is our Supreme Court, and they don't know what they're doing. They're not doing the right thing. Their results show they don't know how the Constitution really should work, how the country should really be founded, on what principles. This is not necessarily a good thing here.
No, I'm not feeling good. This year has the rest of this year has a lot of pitfalls. And you know what? We forgot a question.
Are we going to do it real quick then?
Yes, we might as well. We're going to end with this
Bordering on 40 minutes.
Because I know, I'm sorry. How did I end up with 7? I thought we had 6. But you know what? I forgot another elephant in the room, the pandemic. It was actually on the list before, and I didn't rewrite it. I am
maybe
so
that's that singularity
sorry.
that I've been seeing.
So we are going to take a look at the pandemic, which is kind of resurging, but you know, it's different now. There's all this home testing, so we can't get totally accurate figures. There's also people who are not getting as sick, but people keep getting reinfected, and there may be longer term implications to this virus that are affecting people. It's not just getting the virus and how you get over it, it's what may happen after. What does it do to your body? So let's just see where this pandemic is leading us in the year ahead for the rest of the year.
All right.
I am sorry I forgot that, but let's roll.
Lucky 7.
Wow. This has not been good. Let's hope there's some better news for the pandemic here. All right. Oh, excuse me. It's a draining reading. The 8 of Cups, upright. Oh boy, hey. The 10 of Wands, reversed. Uh-oh. But there's always got to be some disappointment in the room. The sun reversed. Well, I sense a ray of hope here. Boy, do I hope it's true. Maybe I'm wrong, but I do sense here that maybe there's going to be a moving away. Maybe the pandemic is going to start easing up. We're going to be moving from the state of being on constant alert because the Ten of Wands is here in its better aspect as well, saying that, burdens are starting to ease now. Maybe restrictions are starting to ease. Oh boy, I could go two ways with this reading. I think you know that too, don't you? I bet you were going to go the other way. Maybe I'm wrong. But not everything is a perfect world. And you know what? Maybe it will never be a perfect world. Maybe we have to resolve and learn to live with the pandemic, is what this is saying. Can I do my other one and then let you go? Because there's another way of looking at this. People are walking away from restrictions. They're done. They're done and saying, we want to move back. We want to move on to better times. We want to move on to going to events again and venues and have fun again, have light again. We're ready for it. We want to release the burdens of always having to wear masks, having restrictions at work, all of that. We want it done. And that is leading to not a good outcome.
I like what you did there. I guess
I could go either way.
I can kind of agree with that. Maybe my way funges it a little bit because
let's hear it.
What I feel here is that it's only some of us that are walking away towards something better. Those of us that maybe have knowledge, who have spirit on our side or whatever, we are moving towards that future. And to the degree that it does lessen burdens, that's true. But remember, with this particular version, the Light Seers version, I sort of feel there's this idea about the path that they're walking on. And so it may be saying that this path is not clear, but we know we're moving it because we know we have to. And having said that, it's just saying really, it is towards the future, but it may not be a future that is sunny and bright for everyone.
It seems like there may be still delays and disappointments.
Well, maybe we're moving to a stage now, too, where more people will start to have serious repercussions from not being vaccinated, from being infected all the time, constantly, over and over.
It might be... I'm not going to predict a surge here necessarily. What I would like to say, though, is that they are predicting potentially a surge in the fall and winter, because that seems to be the pattern anyway. So what I would suggest is maybe it won't be as severe or harsh as previous ones, but it'll be there. I think this could go either way. And it's funny that this is the most ambiguous of, I think, the readings we've done today.
Yeah, in a way. Mm-hmm.
So I do feel it's kind of up in the air. Take it or leave it. I almost feel like when, I started doing the reading of the more positive one, as I was going along, I saw that other aspect, how it could be actually the reverse of that. And so I want to leave that for you to ponder and think about. Mm-hmm. Anything to add?
No, I agree that this idea really does sort of show multiple things that could happen.
Outcomes.
So, and that's a great way for a fortune teller to hedge their bets.
We're going to have to roll the dice on that one. But stay safe out there, I say. Do what you have to do to stay safe and keep yourself safe. Hey, everybody, we're finished, finally. So we want to thank you for joining us. Stay tuned for our special January 6th committee report, too. We'll see if it maybe jives at all with the state of our democracy at the end of the year. But
or you'll never see it.
Or it's definitely going to be its own standalone reading either way. Might give us into more insight as to where all of this is leading or not.
Right, everybody.
Okay, everybody, take care. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.